a mill in the Lac Saint Jean area
Really?
in Eberville. Okay, we built it from scratch.
Really?
And what it does, it takes the wood in bundles.
Uh-huh.
It dresses. First of all, it kiln dries the wood,
Okay.
and we started with one kiln. And then it dresses the wood, and it goes straight to the market for the building industry here and the United States.
How much did you know about lumber before you
Well,
came here?
I know lumber as an engineer because we use a lot of the use of lumber
Yeah.
in the Middle East is different from Canada and the United States
Yeah.
because it's not used to build houses.
Right.
It's used for form work in the Middle East.
What work?
Form work.
Making
form
forms,
work.
yeah.
Making forms
Yeah.
to pour
Cement.
concrete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the project was good. We started with one kiln, then we built the second, and then the third, and 4 kilns we had.
What
Okay.
about your partners? Are they
I was the
Palestinian?
majority.
Are they
No,
Canadian?
they were all Canadian. There were two Canadian partners. One who was an ex-mill owner, and the other who was a forestry consultant.
Ah, yeah.
So it was all well designed, and we were treated like kings in the village where we built the mill in Eberville because it was the lowest unemployment place in all of Lac Saint Jean.
After you were finished with it.
Yes, of course, because it's not just the mill that was
Yeah.
built. There was a truck depot,
Mm-hmm.
okay, a gas station, a motel to house some of, and then they started building houses, the workers in the village of 5,000. You see, so
How did you choose Eberville? How did you-
as I told you,
Yeah.
the partners, they were ex-mill owner
Yeah.
and the consultant. The consultant was in Quebec City. The ex-mill owner was in that area, and he used to help us buy wood. So we asked his advice, and he chose that place.
So how about your French? You had it before? Or?
I speak a little bit of French.
Okay.
As I always say, comme les oiseaux. So when I go there, I have to speak French, unless my partner is there, Mr. Brian Penny, to translate.
Yeah.
But if I go on my own
Yeah.
and I go and speak French, they love it because I make lots of mistakes. Yeah. Well, this thing went, although we had some problems, for instance, with the flood in 1997, and then in the year 2000, we had a problem with the gas prices when it went up from 19 cents to 44 cents a cubic meter. Still, we survived, and as I said, we have grown. But when you see, well, this is where the greed, I say, when all this system, this sort of free enterprise system, is based on greed.
Okay.
Okay, what happened in the United States? First of all, they had problems with Canada concerning softwood quotas and this and that. Still, we survived. Okay, but when this below prime problem occurred,
Yeah.
this is immediately affected the building industry in the United States, which is the
Yeah.
biggest client of
Right,
ours.
right,
Okay,
Right.
so business started to go down, and we thought it's cyclical as usual. You know, it goes down, it will go up. And I tried my best to keep the company alive until the upward turn comes. But unfortunately, when the problems multiplied and companies started to go bankrupt and even banks started to go bankrupt, that's it. We just couldn't survive anymore. And the bank put its hand on the project, and they sold it as, you know, assets and whatever.
What
It
is
was a
it?
traumatic thing also, because it's the greed of some people somewhere else affects you and affects your life. I had to sell my house.
Really?
Yes, I had to sell my house
Wow.
to cover the debts
We're
and so
talking
on.
the past few years here.
I'm talking about it started in 2006. Okay, but I thought, okay, comes 2007, 2008, we're going to be fine. But and we had a plan actually to save the company, and the plan with some new investors were supposed to come in, and we had everything written, everything in place. Even the investors, the workers were supposed to be part of that plan. But when things started to fall completely in the United States, with all the bankruptcies on, everybody withdrew, and no more funding.
That's
see?
tough, eh?
It is tough.
Very tough.
It is tough. But I take it in stride because, I mean, again, it's our character. We're used to being hit, but we keep on surviving. So now I'm doing a little bit of business. For instance, in 1994, we sold a printing press to a newspaper in Tunisia.
Okay.
It's called, the company is called Snipe, but it produces two newspapers. One in French,
Okay.
called La Presse,
Okay.
just like here.
Yeah.
And the other is called Sahafa, which is La Presse in Arabic.
Oh, really?
You see?
Okay.
Actually, I went with Najat for the inauguration of and the vice president of Tunisia came and he cut the ribbon. The Canadian ambassador, the commercial attaché, and they were flabbergasted. How did you attack this market? We've been trying for ages. I said, number one, I speak the same language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And until now, we sell them spare parts.
Okay.
And before coming here, I was at the bank presenting documents for some shipment of spare parts for this printing machine.
Oh, for heaven's
Yeah,
sake.
just before coming here.
That's where you were.
Yeah.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Anyway, so I'm trying to survive. We're surviving. Thank God. We are living, I wouldn't say as comfortably as we were when we first came, but slowly we're recovering. I'm trying to create new businesses, especially now in the environment field, because this is, in my opinion, this is the trend.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be successful.
Yeah. So you really love that.
Yeah. I like challenges.
Yeah.
And what many people tell me is look, you're 72, 73 years old. Isn't it time you retire? And I said, no, I can't retire. I mean, what shall I do? Just sit and read a book or a magazine or so, or watch TV? No, I'd rather work.
Yeah.
And when I can't work at all, then I will retire or I will go to my grave or whatever. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your integration here, your impressions, your children's integration, and also what you met in terms of a Palestinian community. What happened after 9/11? Did things change for Yuga or what, or you know?
Well, the children, I mean, my two daughters, they graduated from Concordia University. Yeah.
So they immediately went to Concordia.
Immediately, the second day we arrived here. I mean, we arrived on the 28th of August. They went, 28th. On the 29th, they were in the university. Both of them.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was very fast.
So they had applied.
Yeah, they were accepted. Yeah. They were accepted before.
In what fields did they study?
The elder one, Rasha, she's in biochemistry. And the younger one, international business. And she worked with me in my office for years and years until she got married and she went with her husband to Basel, Switzerland. The boys went to...
so the boys are the younger ones?
The boy, the 81 they were born. So they were 7 and 8 when we came here.
Okay, so where did they go to school?
They went to Saint Clement in TMR.
Okay.
And then to Stanislas, and then to the best school, in my opinion, that I have ever seen, because these guys actually excelled there, because they know, this school knows how to challenge children.
What school is that?
That's Marianopolis.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one of them went on, the elder one, studied in Concordia, economics and political science. Okay. And the other one, he's like me. He's an engineer, but he's mechanical.
Really?
And he now is working with Bombardier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So everybody very good.
Yeah, and that's why when we talk about this failed mill, I said I made 5 projects in my life. 4 of them are successful, and these are the children.
Yes.
And if this one has failed, I really don't mind. 4 out of 5 is good. About good. Impression, well, we were, as I said, we loved life here. We like to be free, because where we came from, you were not able to say your mind, and not be punished if you're caught saying your mind if you disagree with the powers that be in that country. Yeah. You see, so this is something that voting. I loved voting here, you know, and we used to participate in all the voting and so on.
Contesting a ticket.
Sorry?
Contesting your ticket.
Yeah, contesting my ticket. Yeah, this is the second week. This is the second week we came here. I refused to drive a car without knowing the rules.
Okay.
Okay, so I got the book,
Yeah.
read all the rules, and after maybe 1 week, I rented the car
Okay.
before buying one.
Okay.
And I was moving with a cousin of mine who's here. When there was a police car behind me and I saw the light, I wanted to let him pass.
Okay.
So apparently he just went behind me and stopped. I'm not used to a policeman coming to you, so I
Right.
opened the car door and went to him.
Yeah.
I said, what's wrong?
Yeah.
He said, you crossed a red light. I said, I'm sorry, I've never crossed a red light in my life. Okay, I'm almost 50 years old and I've been driving for 30 years or more. I never got a ticket except once, parking ticket in Geneva airport.
Right.
Okay, he said, there's always a first time.
Okay.
So I told him, officer, maybe it's your first mistake because I didn't cross any red lights. And I prove it to you, I told him, here you're allowed to turn left while the other cars are coming from the other side,
Right.
the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not used to this maneuver. And I was supposed to turn left at Côte de Neige. And because of this, I was on Van Horn. I just continued straight. I said, I go another way. This to prove to you that my light was green, wasn't red.
Right.
Anyway, and I was really nervous. You know, he gave me a ticket. And I consulted a friend of mine, and he said, if you don't want to pay it, if you want to contest it, you can contest it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm not going to pay it. I went to court
Yeah.
15 months after that,
Yeah.
after the fact. And the judge said, okay, what's your story?
Yeah.
How do you plead? I said, not guilty. I told him what the story, you know, so and so and so happened.
Yeah.
And I told him, you know, Your Honor, when you go to a new country, you're more careful than the people who are living in it.
Right.
And now I'm very, very careful. I didn't drive until I read all the rules and regulations here.
Yeah.
And being hit like that for first week, to me, is very, very traumatic. He banged on, case dismissed. As if he gave me $1 million. And in where I came from, you can't contest something. No way, you can. You get a ticket, you pay it. Yeah.
So, okay, I mean, it sounds like your integration here was smooth. You were very creative and entrepreneurial. Your kids were well. Najat was also. What about you?
Well, yeah, it was the same thing.
It was the same.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you?
it was
What
a-
did you do when you came here?
Well, I went to take courses in TMR Recreation Center.
Yeah.
I went straight away to pottery and all these
Yeah,
art
yeah,
things.
Yeah.
And I was also contributing in exhibitions and showing also our embroidery to
Yeah.
people and
Yeah.
talking about it and all this. It was really good. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So what I mean, what I'm kind of, in spite of all of that goodness,
Yeah.
you know, the first thing you told me when you came in here was it feels good to say the truth about what I feel because you can't always do it.
Yes, because I mean, we strongly believe in our, if you call it, our problem, which is the Palestinian problem, and we found out when we came here that it's not always, you're not always allowed to say what you believe in, sort of in a loud voice and let people hear. Apparently, because people don't like to antagonize the powers that be, and most of them are pro-Israeli. You see, why is that? It's we should have for people to understand the situation. You should allow people to speak. If you're not allowed to speak and you keep silent because of you're afraid, then it beats the purpose.
So how has this come up for you? Like how, in what kind of setting, or, I mean, it may not be fun to talk about, but I think we should talk.
Yeah, I know that. It's for instance, we noticed, for instance,
Yeah.
that there are lots of exchange emails and articles that are explaining the problem, all right? And of course, for instance, we'd like you to understand, so I send a copy or I forward an article to you or to anybody else. And we found out that lots of our sort of friends, if you want to call them that, don't want to hear that. And they send you, they tell you, please drop my name from your list. You see? And of course, fine, I'm not hurt if this is the case after, if we overdo it, if we keep on sending and this. But when you send something for a friend that you would like him to understand your position, then it hurts a little bit when immediately they don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
You see? This is one thing. Second, for instance, Najat and her artwork. When she wants to exhibit her art, as soon as the word Palestine is heard, it becomes like as if it is a taboo. Oh no, sorry, we don't deal with that. And actually, something like that happened only about a week or 10 days ago.
In what circumstance?
In a museum here. She was met very nicely at the beginning and so on, but when she wrote a letter, and Palestinian art, we don't deal with such things.
What kind of
Not to
museum was
that,
it?
no, not to that.
Oh, you explained it better than me,
we
because
don't have to say any names.
why not?
No, and it's a matter. It's a very sensitive thing that when it's not only that. It's maybe 10 years ago. There is like a very nice collection that is worth really displaying for people to see and all this. And also we
Which
were met.
collection are you talking
It's
about?
a collection. It's a costume collection, Palestinian costume collection. And it's a rare collection. It's a it's displayed all over America, North America, and we wanted to bring it here in a textile museum, and also we were refused. No, we don't deal with such thing. Although it is a textile museum, whether here or in Ottawa or in Toronto, they all refuse the word Palestine as if it's a taboo. On the contrary, Palestine existed in the map since ages, and why not display Palestinian beauty and embroidery that has been there for centuries? So it's of course it's heartbreaking not to show these things, and not to recognize that these things exist. So that's why, for instance, when we first came here, I thought that as Palestinians, we are ambassadors for our country, and we should show the beauty, the good part, the humanity, the relationship between people. So that's why it hurts when some people just block you and they don't want to hear. They as if afraid to hear. So we're not monsters, we're not terrorists, we are we want just you to understand from where we came from.
So with, let's say, this textile collection, were the people who turned it down, did they know anything about the textile collection?
Of course, they were presented with brochures and other places like where they displayed, in which museums, in which venues. They were presented with all these documents, but with this they refused, and until now it is the same thing. So this is a problem here,
So
and it's not a good sign, that they just want to erase the word Palestine, or erase our heritage, or erase us like anybody else that has been just wiped out off the map.
Yeah.
That's
For artwork.
and for artwork, it's